everybody, this is Renee Millman at reneemillman.com. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Healthy Kitchen Tips and Life Hacks. I'm going to be making pesto today, homemade pesto. What could be better? And I have lots to tell you about it, so just wanted to say hi before I go into the kitchen where I can only show the countertop and my hands. It's kind of a small space. So I'll see you in the kitchen. Hello everyone, welcome to the kitchen where all good things happen. Here is the spread of our wonderful ingredients for our homemade pesto. But I just want to tell you a couple things that are a little bit different about this batch of pesto than what you may have had in the past. I am going to be using basil, but I want to mention that you could use cilantro, parsley, and of course the basil, or you can use a combination. I have done some that is both like cilantro and basil, or you can mix it up and get really creative, but today it's just going to be your standard basil. And then here, traditionally pesto is made with pine nuts, but I have raw and unsalted pistachios. It's pretty cool. Then I have my pink Himalayan sea salt and this clove of garlic, which I cut down because it was huge, and I don't know about you, but I don't want quite that much garlic in my pesto, but it's up to you. And here I have all my utensils. Oh, and of course the olive oil, can't forget that. So and the one thing that I'm leaving out is the cheese. Most pesto recipes call for either a Romano or Parmesan cheese, but I'm actually leaving that out, and it actually turns out pretty good. So if you're avoiding dairy, or if you're vegan or lactose intolerant, this will work out great. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is throw the pistachios into my blender here. Now technically, if you have a food processor, please pull that out, because that actually will work a little bit better than a blender, but this is all I got at the moment, so I'm gonna kind of, as I always say, with whatever you got, make that work. So we're using the blender today. If you got a food processor, awesome. All right, so I'm gonna throw these in here. Oh, a little bit of an echo there. But the first thing I'm going to do is just get a nice chop on these before I add my other ingredients. So I'm just gonna chop these and I will be right back. Okay, so as you can see, I have a nice chop in there. Pretty good like this. Of course, they're going to go down even more, but I wanted to at least get the coarsest bits out of there. You don't want it too big of pieces of pistachio before you add in your greens and the rest of the ingredients. So that's looking pretty good, I think. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is add my basil. Now this is 2 cups of basil, and I didn't mention, but the pistachios, I actually had 1/2 cup. I will put all the ingredients in the description below the video, of course, so you can always refer to that. And I kind of pulled the stems off of this first. Got it all ready to go. Oops, that one doesn't want to leave my finger. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is just take this over to the blender and get that nice and incorporated, and I'll be right back. Okay, so here we are. You can see that most of the leaves are ground down. There's still a couple big pieces in there. And again, a food processor is 10 times better than doing a blender, because the chopped nuts are gonna get kind of packed down to the bottom. So you have to stop it quite a few times, give it a good stir, mix it up. And really what this needs is the oil, which is where we are now. So once you have that oil in there, it's gonna blend up so much more easily. And then you won't have that caking effect on the bottom nearly as much. So I'm going to add 2/3 cup of oil. Now I'm going to add a little bit in here to begin with. I'm going to add half. But what you really want to do is, when you're blending, is to pour it through the top. Actually, let me change my plan a little bit. I'm just going to pour in a tiny bit, kind of like that. And then I'm going to blend it up again and stir it, or pour the oil through the top of the blender. That way it can, get a nice drizzle as you go. Okay, so here we are. So the oil really helped just mix everything up really nicely to a nice consistency. Okay, so now I'm going to add our garlic. Throw that into the press. And having one of these is really handy if you have one, but if you don't, you can certainly get by without one. And lastly, I'm going to season it with salt to taste, so you can choose as much or as little salt. And let's blend that up a bit. Okay, so here we have it. Now, if you were to add cheese, the color would become much, much lighter. You know, pesto is so versatile. You could put this over pasta, of course, or if you were to make spiral sliced zucchini or roasted veggies, you can use the pesto as a dip. You can also use it in place of a pizza sauce, which is wonderful if you're someone like me who doesn't eat nightshades. So I'm gonna pour this into here, just so that you can get a better look at it. It's this super, super dark green color, which looks funny. But we'll give it a taste in just a moment. Okay. I'm just gonna take a little spoon to taste. It's really, really nice and light and not too heavy on the garlic. The salt balances out everything nicely. So again, looks really dark, but again, if you add your cheese, it will be lighter. If you choose to go the dairy-free option, feel free to, you know, experiment with all the many ways you can use pesto. So I hope that you enjoyed this, and thank you so much for joining me in the kitchen. I hope you will like, share, and subscribe. Thanks so much. I'll see you next time.